We're going to look at Victoria's home sales for 2025. We have Chanhassen, Chaska, and Victoria up and ready to go. So let's take a look. So this is total closed sales for 2025. Chanhassen was 333, which was up a few points. Chaska was 346, and that's up almost 10%. And Victoria, 165, up 34%. Now that's year over year from December of 2025. So that is a pretty healthy increase. One thing to note, Victoria is lower for a number of reasons, but there is a number of sales that are not included in there that are new construction. So the new construction is not there. So when it comes to days on market, how fast were homes selling in the area? Well, in Chanhassen, it was 24 days. In Chaska, it was 27 days. And in Victoria, it was 26 days for the year 2025. And that is on the median. So what does that mean? That means half the homes sold faster and half the homes sold slower than 24, 27, and 26 days. Back here, it was, single digits, 10, 11, 12 days. And now it's pretty much 2 to 3 weeks. So month supply, this is the amount of homes that would all be sold if no more homes were put on the market, or buyer demand. So it's a buyer demand and a seller supply number. So how long would it take to satisfy the demand? Right now, it's 2 months, almost pretty much the same in Chanhassen, Chaska, and Victoria. Now, if we pop it back to December or January of 2025, we can see that Chanhassen is just up a titch, Chaska is down a titch, and Victoria is pretty well, it's exactly the same, 2.2. So that's how many months supply there is. And if you put it in context on a nationalized basis, 4 or 5 months is considered a balanced market. So we are still in a pretty strong seller's market, even though the market has slowed down. So sales prices. Now, again, this is previously owned. So we're comparing pretty much apples to apples. Median wise, Chanhassen's went up a little bit, 4% year over year to 538,000. Chaska's went up 6.4% to 415, and Victoria went up 17.8% to 630. And there isn't as many homes being sold in Victoria. So when you have several or a couple dozen of the really expensive homes, trading hands, it doesn't take long to get that up. And of course, Victoria has a pretty high price point when it comes to new construction. Quick question for you. Are you curious about the value of your home? If you are, I have just the thing for you. Just scroll down below where you're watching the video right now, and then where you'll see free market value report. And you click on that link right there next to it, and it will go to this website, which is my website. You'll type in your address, and then you'll push that green button. It will ask you for your email address, and then it will send you an email, and it will be an automated valuation of your home. The only other person who knows that you did it is me, and I'll keep it quiet. I will send you a thank you, however, but other than that, no one else will know. Now, when we look at price per square foot, how are they holding up? Because this is probably the single largest ingredient to how much has my home gone up in value. So if somebody says, hey, what was my appreciation last year? I can kind of say, well, I can't kind of say, I can really say, in Chanhassen, it was negative 1.4. In Chaska, it was positive 1.6, and in Victoria, it was positive 2.1. Now, that's a median. I actually think in this particular case, it's easier or it's more illustrative to do an average. And if we do that, negative 3% in Chanhassen, plus 3 in Chaska, and minus 3.7 in Victoria. So let's take a look at percentage of original list price. Now, this is a really important number. This is when a seller put his home on the market, their home on the market, excuse me. What did they get? So, for instance, if it was $100,000 and they got 99,000, it would be 99%. Percentage of original list price: Chanhassen 98.8, 99.7 for Chaska, and 98.3 for Victoria. So, what is that telling us? It's telling us that overall sellers were giving small discounts. Showings to pending. This is how many showings, not how many days it was on the market, but how many showings. So in Chanhassen, it took 9 showings. In Chaska, it took 9 showings. In Victoria, it took 7 showings, which is negative 10% for Chanhassen. And again, that's not as many sales to compare, so it's really not a great stat. This Chaska stat's interesting. It's up 12%, so it went up a touch. Victoria, flatline. So that's how many showings. But when we go to days on the market, it takes 24 days, 27 days, and 26 days. That just seems a little odd. So when we go back in time, and we're seeing that these numbers are, they're a little bit more time, but then we go to showings. So the amount of showings has pretty much straight lined until the sale. In other words, there's, let's say, 10 showings, but instead of it happening in 18 days, it's happening in 22 or 24 days. But those amount of showings is all it takes to sell the home. By the way, I really do appreciate you watching this video. If there's anything I can do for you until the next time you see me, please let me know. I would love to be of service. Bye bye.